Hello everybody, Rob Paparozzi in the basement doing a bare bones basement video. New piece of gear I just got is a pedal for harmonica players, a little fatty. It's very lightweight and small. Hopefully you can get a better look at it. One end goes to the amp, 1/4 inch. One end goes to the microphone, 1/4 inch. And what it does is it'll take a regular guitar amp and allow you to turn the volume up more than you ever could, because on a guitar amp, and I have my settings pretty modest. I mean, I could only get the treble up. Right now I have the treble up to about 2, and maybe the mids 3, and the bass 4, but that's as high as I could go. The master's up to 10 because I want to get the full amount of watts out of this thing. But then on the channel, the volume switch, I have a hard time getting it past 1, maybe 1.5. Starting to get to 2, you're going to hear a squeal. So we're going to do the ugly stuff first here. I've got a high impedance. This is the old Butterfield, right? The P54 Unidyne 3. It's got an on and off, luckily, so when it starts to squeal, I can turn it off from here. But the high impedance mic, and I'm trying this. I'm going to do another demo right after this with the low impedance mic too. So here we go. I'm going to turn it up. You're going to hear some squealing. All right. Here's about not even 1. Squealing. I'm trying to get it past 1 and closer to 2, and it ain't happening. Well, I'm sitting very close. Normally you wouldn't be sitting this close to your amp, but for my video here, I want you to be able to see me and the amp and the mic. So, but you're going to see the difference when I put the effect on it. 2, it's not making it at 2. It's squealing like crazy. Now, I need it to get hotter if I'm going to play. And like I said, you wouldn't normally be sitting this close, but I can do it with the effect. I'm going to plug that in 1 second. So there you have it. That's the dilemma that you have with a guitar amp. You can't get the volume up hot enough to pull the wattage out of the amp to, play with a loud band. So you got all this watts, but you can't use it because you've got a microphone plugged into an amp, and it's going to feed back. Just because of the way it's set up for a guitar. So what I'm going to do is get my little fatty pedal here, and I'm going to turn the volume down, and I will plug in the microphone into the microphone end of my little fatty, right? And I will plug in, let's see, I'm going to need my 1/4 inch cable here. So here's a 1/4 inch guitar jack, right here. Now I'm going to plug that into the first channel where I have it. So now we're plugged in through the little fatty effect, right? Nothing's changed. I got the knob straight up. What's going to happen is now I can go back to the amp and see if I can. I'm going to leave the settings. What you want to do is eventually change the settings on the amp. When you have this, you can crank things a lot. I'm just going to leave the settings as it were, and I'm going to see if I can get that volume to go up past 1 and 2, where it was really starting to squeal. Sitting here, this close to the amp, all right, and I'm keeping the knob straight up. And here we go. Okay. I'm already at 2. Now I'm about 3. You don't hear any squealing. I'm sitting right here. You can see how close I am to the amp. So you probably noticed that it's bassier now, right? I've lost some of the high end. So what I'm going to do on the pedal is if you turn it to your left, you're going to increase some of the treble. So you can put the treble back in once you've had this effect engaged. Now let's see what happens here. See, I'm pushing it with my thumb to the left and you hear the treble. I'm going to go back to 12 o'clock. So it's already starting to brighten up a little bit. I'm going to go down a little more. Now I'm going to cup it. So that's closer to where I had it when I was not using the effect, right? I'm getting a little more bite. I'm going to see how much I can get. I'm going again to my left to beef up some of the treble sounds. That's nice. It's kind of in between bass and treble. I'm not getting any feedback. You can see I'm putting the mic down. I'm taking the cup away. I'm on 3. Definitely on 3 and a little bit beyond. I'm going to try and go a little hotter. Going up to about 4 here. I'm going to try and add a little more bass. If you add a little more treble, you're going to definitely get a little bit of feedback. But I'm pretty high here. I'm about, I would say, maybe about 10 o'clock here to my left. So I've pushed that. Now, and it's pretty loud, so I shouldn't be sitting this close to the amp. But I'm still not getting the kind of squeal that I was getting before. So I got some volume now, and now I'm pulling the wattage that the amp is really giving me. I you know, at that level. Now, if I was standing up and I was a few feet away from this amp, I could probably go up another 2 notches to about 5. Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to have to get out of the picture here, right? So now I told you I'm at 3+. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to turn this up and walk away and play some of those licks. Here we go. All right, I'm up to about 5+. Here we go. Hey, I'm back. So that was pretty loud, and I was only standing, and I was kind of half facing the amp. I wasn't like way far away. I moved about maybe, I would say, 5 feet from this amp, right in front of the camera here, and able to play it on 5. I don't think I could do 5 here. Pretty close though. I mean, I'm not getting the squeal. I'm not getting the feedback. So that's what this pedal is doing for me. If you go straight up, or to the left, to my left, and your right, then you're going to add a little bass to it. So just let me turn this back down so we can demo it here. So straight up is here. So it gets bassier as I go to the left. Straight up is straight up, and then to the right, my right, you can hear the treble kick in. So there you have it. It's a pretty cool pedal. It's very lightweight, easy to carry, and it's a lifesaver. I played last Saturday night with a 20+ piece big band doing the music of Paul Butterfield and Mike Bloomfield, and I brought my Blues Deluxe, which is right over here, which is basically a little louder wattage wise than this guy here. And I had this amp, the 12-inch Blues Deluxe with 112 in it, and it kicked butt, man. And I was able to crank it. And the cool thing about this mic is okay, but if you have a mic like with a volume control, this one is Greg Human's Ultimate 57. Then you even have more control because you can crank your amp, turn this down, and then work your way back up here, and you'll have some headroom, right? So I was using this microphone, and man, I had control. A Fender Blues Deluxe, stock Blues Deluxe. Here's a Blues Junior 4, a lot of power. But I now have a volume control and a pedal that is going to cut back on some of those frequencies that don't allow me to turn the amp up. So it turns a guitar amp, a stock guitar amp, into a harmonica amp. It's called the Little Fatty, and it's a great pedal. Go and check it out at Memphis Blues Amps, Rick Davis's company, and it's really wonderful, and it's not expensive. I think it's, let's see, 65 bucks, right? And not a bad deal, because you can throw it in your harp case, and you never know what you're going to be up against out there in the real world, right? Whether you bring in your own amps and you don't want to have to do tube swapping, you just want to keep it set up as it is, or you're out at a blues jam and the guitar player brought an extra amp, but you know it's not set up for harp. Or, you know, you're at a gig and they're providing backline for you. They say, well, you tell us what amps you need. But they're not going to give you, you know, tweaked amps. They're going to give you stock guitar amps. This pedal will enable you to get the volume you need out of the amp. Now, one other thing before I leave here is what I didn't do. Now, it tells you in the instructions when you get this, what you can do is turn up your bass a lot. So now I have the bass on about 5. I'm going to go up to about 8, almost full. All right, and what I did was I turned the bass up to about 8. I turned the treble up to 2. You know, because I don't want the treble too high, right? Because I'm a harp player. So I got the treble at about 2, and I got the bass at about 8, cranked all the way up. So now I can do that and control it from here. All right, and I got the middle on, yeah, the middle's on 2, you know, just to give me a little presence in that range. This is straight up. I'm going to turn this back on, the mic back on. I had it on and off switch on there. And I still have it on, it's about 3.5. It's loud, and I'm not feeding back. Now what I can do, I got the bass up pretty high on the amp, but now I can just go over to my right and add the treble from here. And keep that bass. I still got a nice bass, fat bassy sound. So you can crank the bass up, give yourself a little bit of treble, a little bit of mids. Now you don't have to really be so modest with your settings, because you have this that's going to control your amp, the Little Fatty. Okay? All right. What I'll do is I'll do another video after this, because it's getting kind of long. And what I'll do is I'll try a low impedance microphone, which I use a lot too. A lot of times I'll use my Ultimate 58, because I play a lot. I don't just play Chicago blues stuff. I'm playing a lot of jazz and pop stuff mixed in, so I use an Ultimate 58 with a volume control. I may use, and these are, so you need the low impedance transformer. which looks like this, right? The pigtails, right? So when you're using a high impedance mic, you're going to need that transformer. I'll use an Audix that I helped Audix design, this Audix Fireball V with a volume control. It's a great harmonica mic, and really doesn't feed back much either. So it's a great mic, and these are a little bit cleaner sounding, but you can get some dirt out of them. So I'm going to do another video. This was the high impedance that I wanted to show you. I could probably plug a bullet in too, just to show you. Let's do that, since this is going to be the high impedance video. Give me a minute here. All right, so here's an old static. I'm not sure what kind of element is in here. This might be one that years and years ago D-Carp put a different element in, so I'm not sure if it's a stock JT30. I have no idea. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in, turn the volume off, plug this in to the little fatty, and all right, so now my bullet mic is going in to the microphone in. I got everything straight up still. Got the same settings on. I'm not sure if I'll be able to leave those settings on. We're going to find out. And with a JT30 with maybe, it could even be a Shure element in there. Who knows what's in there. So I got the volume up. It's a volume control one. Volume up, and I'm going to kind of get back to here. Okay. Microphone. Let's just make sure we got this right. Microphone into the mic end and amp into the amp end. Oh, okay. I had the volume down. All right, here I'm about 1. I'm already at 3. So it's a little darker. So I'm going to probably, the mic's a little darker. I'm going to probably want to see if I can do this with one hand. Excuse my technique here. You can see where it is. I'm going to go to the left. I'm going to go to my left, where it's going to give it some more treble. Because this is a darker mic, right? I got the volume all the way up. Now I can give it some more, because these mics don't have the power that like a Shure 54, that high impedance one I just unplugged. So I'm going to crank it even more. I'm at about, let's see, I'm about 3.5. I'm going up to 4, and I'm sitting right here. If I go over there, I'm going to be able to crank it even more. Let me just see if I can get up on the highs a little bit more here on the amp. The treble's only on about 2. I might be able to even get a little more. Now I'm using some of the volume from this amp. I got some power here. I'm going to crank it. I got the master on 10, but I'm going to crank it even some more. I'm up to about 5. All right, so there's the high impedance, a bullet mic going through the little fatty, straight in to a Fender stock Blues Junior 4. Brand new. It's got a lot of power. And I kept the reverb off just so we can really hear what the amp is doing here. I could probably turn a little verb on. Let's see. I don't know what that's going to do. Now reverb too sometimes will start your amp squealing because it's just another factor that you're throwing in the loop. But again, with the little fatty, everything seems to be tapered and tame, and then you can work the amp harder And then, like I said, zero in a little closer here. If you want a little more treble, just shoot it off to your left. Okay, that'll do the low impedance demo, and then I'll plug in, the high impedance mics. I'm going to plug in some low impedance mics and be right back. Thanks.